Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Wyo-Dakota 2A Arsenal Roundup News. My name is Sergio Espinoza and I am your host. We are your primary source for Second Amendment news, whether it be good, bad, or ugly, or what will benefit your Second Amendment rights, or it'll cause effect to your Second Amendment rights, whether it be here in the great state of South Dakota, or even the great state of Wyoming, or any part of the United States. We keep you informed on important Second Amendment news. Today we're going to be talking about a recent incident that happened in Minnesota. As you may have heard, two Democrat lawmakers, including a Democrat lawmaker's husband, was shot and killed yesterday. Minnesota Assembly member Melissa Horton and Minnesota State Senator Jon Hoffman was shot, and Melissa Horton and her husband were killed. They were shot and killed by Vance Luther Bolter. As of right now, I have it on Fox. Vance Luther Bolter is currently in custody as we speak. He has been arrested and will be charged for second-degree murder. This does raise a concern for me for numerous reasons. We all know that because of this incident, you're going to have representatives from Minnesota, especially radical leftist Democrats like Elam Hobart, or even Senator Al Franken. They're going to be pushing for more gun control laws, and it never fails. When an incident like this happens, we know that the anti-gunners and the gun control groups are going to be pushing for more gun control laws. And they want to punish law-abiding citizens for something you didn't do. But that's the game the Democrats play. First, let me say my condolences go out to the families of Melissa Horton and even Jon Hoffman. I may not agree with them. I know where they stand politically. I know they have radical leftist views, especially Melissa Horton, who's a member that was called the Democratic Farm Workers of Minnesota. She has been serving in her seat since 2004, so I know where she stands, and believe me, I don't always agree with everything she says. Matter of fact, I don't agree with anything she says. However, a human life is a human life, and there's no excuse to shoot anybody that you disagree with. There are a lot of things I disagree with the Democrats on, and I even disagree with stuff on the Republicans as well. But that doesn't mean you stoop to that level. We have to be better people than that. And I understand how evil the Democrat Party is. Believe me, I know. They are the bigger evil compared to the Republican Party. And I won't cut the Republicans any breaks either, because they're held accountable for some of the problems we have in America today, but that's another story. However, there are Republicans too who have backstabbed law-abiding gun owners, so we know that they're going to be licking their chops to try to pressure for more gun control laws. And we all know right now it's unpredictable what Minnesota Governor Tim Tampon Walz is going to be doing. For all we know, he might be up to another gun control scheme. We all see how he plays Elmer Fudd for photo ops, trying to brag that he's a hunter, but he can't even handle a firearm properly. I've seen how he handles it. He's really clumsy. But Tim Walz, we all know, who was Kamala Harris's running mate. We know that he's going to be up to something on this. It won't be no surprise if he wants to push or even more stricter gun laws. Minnesota already has stricter gun laws as it is, but that's another story. But we must not allow this to happen, especially for those of you who live in the state of Minnesota, those of you who are gun owners. We rest assure you that Tim Walz and his cronies are going to be trying to push for a gun control scheme that will affect your constitutional rights. So we got to beat them to the punch. So what I encourage people to do as of right now is call the House and Ways Means Committee. There's the number on the screen as I speak. Just copy that number down, call the House and Ways Means Committee, and tell them that you are concerned that further gun control laws are going to be pushed due to the incident of Melissa Horton and Jon Hoffman. And for those of you who live in Minnesota or even outside of Minnesota, you want to call the House and Ways Means Committee, because if you do have an elected official who's not on your side, what you can do is call the House and Ways and Means Committee and give your voice and tell them we don't need to push for more gun control laws because it's not the fault of the law-abiding citizens. And once again, you know, it's groups like the Brady Campaign, the Violence Policy Center, and the Southern Poverty League, and Bloomberg's For Every Town for Not So Gun Safety and Moms Demand Action. We all know right now, as of Monday, they'll be calling up the phones and trying to demand for stricter gun laws. But we got to beat them to the punch, and we got to call this Monday morning. So by the time you watch this video, you'll probably be watching it sometime at midnight, or you'll be watching it in the morning. But whatever the case may be, make sure you call the House and Ways Committee as fast as possible. As sooner you call them, the better, and tell them no more stricter gun laws. This is not the fault of law-abiding gun owners. It's the fault of Vance Luther Bolter. Now, I don't understand how stricter gun laws are going to make a difference, because number one, Lance Luther Bolter already broken the law. Okay, he already committed a gun and a felony. Well, let's say if he's already been convicted of something and he's not supposed to own a gun, would it stop him from killing State Representative Melissa Horton? No, it wouldn't, because for all we know, he can buy it off the streets, he could steal it, or buy a black market gun, or he could make a zip gun. So either way, you're not going to stop a criminal from doing its evil deed. So he's already broken the law. There is no motive at this time on why Bolter targeted Melissa Horton and Jon Hoffman, although I do know, based from sources and some information I got, Bolter knew Hoffman. They were on the board together on labor issues, I believe it was. And Vance Luther Bolter was a very outspoken evangelical Christian. It's hard to pronounce it. Evangelical Christian. He really has strong anti-abortion views. And it's been said that Melissa Horton is a strong supporter of abortion. She's a pro-choice person, and I think that's one of the main reasons, or some of the reasons why he targeted Melissa Horton. That's a possibility. But the information will come out soon. As of right now, as I've said, that Bolter is in custody. They caught him in some type of cornfield. He had like dirt all over him. He was kind of dirty, so they were able to find him where he was hiding, and he's now in custody. Now again, I don't condone this. All right, and I hope and I pray that this doesn't happen to anybody again. It probably will, but my point I'm trying to get at is that we have to be better people and set a better example than the next person. Now again, I understand that Melissa Horton has very radical leftist views. I understand that she does, as well as her husband, as well as Jon Hoffman. They're no friends of the Second Amendment. But we all know that people like Ilham Omar and Shrita Tlaib are going to try to push for stricter gun laws. And so are other members of the left wing are going to do that as well. We probably already know, probably by now, you're going to have gun control advocates calling up their office and demanding for stricter gun laws, like it's really going to stop this from the future, because it won't. Because again, criminals will always find a way to get guns. Either they steal them or they buy them from the black market. You just cannot stop it. If they're gonna do a crime, they're gonna do a crime. But what you can do is give the law-abiding citizen a fighting chance. You see, this is an example of unarmed and helpless leads to. And because Bolter knows that Minnesota is an anti-gun state with Tampon Tim as their governor, chances are he believes that Horton is going to be an easy sitting target, which she was. Surprisingly, she doesn't have any bodyguards protecting her home. Either she probably had them or she probably rejected them. I don't know. But I digress. So again, we need to call our elected officials up first thing Monday. So if you get this message, call your elected officials up. Make sure you call the House and Ways and Means Committee and make sure your voice is heard, and tell them that as a law-abiding citizen should not be responsible for what happened to Representative Melissa Horton and State Senator Jon Hoffman. We should not be at fault. I had nothing to do with it. But again, the gun control groups don't care if you didn't do it or not. They just feel that they have a right to put the forced tyranny on you and make you deal with it and accept it. We're not going to take it though. That's why we're encouraged to call. So it's important that you call the House and Ways and Means Committee and tell them, leave a message and tell them that in the wake of the incident of Melissa Horton and the shooting of death or attempted murder of State Senator Jon Hoffman, I reject stricter gun laws because I'm not at fault, and it's basically the gun control group's way of wanting to point the blame on somebody. And we all know that Michael Bloomberg and his goons are probably calling up the House and Ways Committee too to encourage them to push for stricter gun laws. And it never fails. Each time an incident like this happens, they want to push for other laws. But if this were to happen to a Republican, we all know that there was a left-wing lunatic who used an SKS to shoot at Republicans, Democrats remain silent. But again, we have to be the better person and lead by example. So again, I don't condone what happened to Melissa Horton, even though I may disagree with her on a lot of political issues, as well as Jon Hoffman. I don't wish this even on my worst enemy, nor should anybody, because it's nonsense. People have a right to, we have a right to agree to disagree, but do it respectfully. Okay? I understand you might be saying, well, if this were to happen to a Republican, the Democrats would be cheering. Yeah, you're right. They probably would be. But you know what? We have to be more mature than them. The Democrat Party is simply the party of immaturity. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that the Republican Party is any better than the Democrat Party by no means. I'm not saying that it is. But if you compare the Republican Party to the Democrat Party, it's more of a party of maturity. One party is the party of maturity, the other is immaturity. And believe me, there are some Republicans who do think like Democrats. They're basically Democrats in Republican sheepskin. Okay? There are a lot of them. But what we have to do is, again, do everything respectfully. Whether if you agree with the person or disagree with the person, let's be the better person. We use our voice as our weapon, okay? Take the time to call your elected officials and encourage them and say, you know, I am concerned that there are going to be stricter gun laws because of the wake of the Melissa Horton and Jon Hoffman shooting. We should not be responsible as law-abiding citizens. Well, that is it for tonight, or for today, for Wyo-2 Arsenal Roundup News. If you have some important legislation that's important to you that you want me to address, please feel free to send me an email at rjeespinoza, that's espinoza.roundupnews@gmail.com. Tell me what state you're from. Tell me what the legislation's about. Let me know if it's good or bad. Will it benefit your Second Amendment rights, or will it harm your Second Amendment rights? And you can also follow me on Podbean. I'll be on Podbean every Saturday for Saturday morning shoot. I'm hoping to try to find guests. I'll be discussing both shooting sports as well as legislative action. I want to try to make this show as fun as possible. So I encourage you to follow me on Podbean. I will try to put a link to Podbean on my YouTube channel so that you can follow me on Podbean. And please give some likes. So far I have 25 subscribers. I want to get more. It's important that I do, so I know how many people are supporting me and backing me so I can continue doing what I like to do. And remember, I don't do this for money. I do this as a concerned American citizen, an advocate, and a defender of the Second Amendment. Because I do care about my constitutional rights, and I want these constitutional rights to live on to the next generation of my family. So again, please give a like. If you care about the Second Amendment, please follow me, subscribe to my channel, and encourage other people. Spread the word, and give the word of mouth, and tell your friends who support the Second Amendment to follow my show. I need as much support as possible. It'd be deeply appreciative. But until then, be armed, be vigilant, carry a firearm to protect your home and your family and your community. And remember, the Second Amendment is not about guns. It's all about freedom. Have a good day.